Kia ora e te whānau. Well, here we are, we're back into it, 2026, and we will be making these for extra writing space. However, while I'm showing you through what they do, I made it, and usually I would then do this part and put it on the beginning of the video so I don't have to make it twice. Unfortunately, when I videoed all of this, it deleted. Well, it didn't delete, but it was stuck on AI, so I deleted it because all it focused on was my hands and everything else was out of focus, and I didn't know that that button was on. So what I'm going to do, so we've got another little tuck spot there, and we've got pockets here, so I'll show you how to do both of those. But basically it's just writing space because our journal at the moment, and if you're new here, welcome, we've already made all of these, so feel free to jump in at this point and start the journal with us. If we put these in between certain pages, because these are so embellished, we're going to end up with a whole lot more writing space within our journal. So I've made 2, but you could make plenty more than that. And I just thought, well, I haven't finished that one yet because it's got nothing on the back and I haven't done the binding. Why does a flip up always have to be a tip in or a flip out or a topper? Why can't it be the feature of the page? So here we go. So take a look at this one, because the one I'm going to be doing, because I can't stand doing things twice for no reason, I'll actually put it into my other journal, so I will do it slightly differently, but the mechanics of it will be exactly the same. So I've just got an old piece of paper, fly page from one of my books. I have stuck a rose sticker on it, and I will show you how I got those. I put 2 doilies in, that I'd coffee dyed, 2 different ones. This one is part of a much larger one. That one's a whole one. Belly band, flip down, and a closure. And a little embellishment there for our focal point. So as far as the stickers, I have taken these from antique, copyright-free pictures of paintings of flowers, and I have edited them and cut them out so that I could turn them into standalone fussy cuts. So either you could just print it, this will be in the folder, you could either just print it off on your paper of your choice and fussy cut it out. I put it onto, you know, the washi sticker paper that I said I bought from Temu, and I have turned them into washi stickers. So I've got one there, one on that back one, and one over here. Okay, so that's in the folder. I'll make sure that this patterned paper is in the folder, that I pop a dictionary page into the folder, and this will be repeated into the folder, and I'll make sure that that gel print, that's my original gel print, but you'll be able to just print off a little bit. So what I did to make sure that this was the exact same size, because as you know, we're a little bit off A5 because of the addition of the binding. So all I did was, to excuse the street noise today, I have just got plain coffee paper, folded it in half, and I'll just show you that we are slightly off, so you can see that this one's slightly bigger. And all I did was I popped that one up there. I have cut out of my printed gel print a template of one of these, and just to remind us, if you're doing it like this, it's 2 1/4, and it's got a center score line which is at 1 1/8, and these hole punches were exactly halfway, and then these are just about 1 inch up from either end. So there you go. I find it really easy just to place that on, use a craft knife to cut it down. I've got the size, and then I can just hole punch. However, I did on the other one do fabric, and I will, when I punch those holes, I will have to use that as a guideline, because that won't go through my normal paper punch. I'll have to use my probably my leather punch or my crocodile and I might have to punch a few holes to get it big enough to fit those into. I'm hoping this makes sense, because I'm sorry I'm having to explain all of this. So pretend this is decorative, like one of these ones. Once we've got that, we just need to line this guy up so that this edge is on any guideline. By eye, just make sure that this is straight. And then all I do is I pop that in so that it is on that same line. And then let that flap come up, but hold it here. Glue, I usually just glue along there and glue along this edge on the coffee dye paper, and then I close it, and then that's glued this top part to the coffee paper. Then turn it over, open it up, and glue all down there, and that will close that up. Okay, so that's as simple as that is. And the one that we are doing first, well, the one that I'm showing today, that is just one piece of coffee paper, A4 coffee paper folded in half, whereas the other one just has a little bit of eco dyeing paper folded in the middle as well, and that's purely going to be just writing space. I don't think I'll decorate it, but you never know. You never know me. I might just put a cluster there with a tab, and if I do, I'll make sure we do that on camera. And so exactly the same thing, except two pieces of paper have been folded together. Okay, any questions, feel free to ask. Like I say, this is an abnormal video because usually I would show you everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make one for my other journal. Okay, so it's going to, I will just use it to pop it, glue it into the front cover, inside cover of my other journal. So I've made a slight variation of that, which I'll talk about in a second. It's still going to have a belly band, it's still going to have a little bit of doily, and I'll show you how to make that swivel guy. I'm sure you know how to do it, but that's fine. I had to laugh. I loved how it said through on the dictionary page, so I made it so that you could see through it. Okay, so this paper here, by the way, this is just one of those, you know, those awful gaudy plastic placemats that are usually some bright gold colour. I use that instead of a stencil, and I will try and remember to pop the video of my tea dyeing with stencils, exactly the same thing. Dunk your piece of paper, put the plastic placemat on, flick more coffee through it, and it gives you a beautiful, beautiful pattern. The more coffee you put through it, the more the pattern comes through. Isn't that just stunning? I was so happy with that. Okay, so let's get this aside. Now, literally, this is gluing down. Oh, and I need to show you that. Hang on a second. So, all I did to make this was I got the dictionary page. You could just print it out on cardstock, but because mine's the original dictionary page, it's really thin. I've stuck it on some heavier card. Then I have just, you could use a paper punch, but I wanted slightly larger holes. So I then got this and cut out 2 more die cut holes into there, and then trimmed it down to the size that I wanted to. Now I put this extra flap on it, but if, see that there, so that it holds. But if you were clever, you would just score here and fold over and not trim that excess off. That's what I would do if I was doing that again. So now imagine that this has the pretty dictionary page on it. Then all I did for this one, which I really liked, is I just stuck another piece on the back. I did double-sided print this, so I've got, use your imagination again. So I double-sided it, printed it so that it had the 2 patterns, so that when I stuck that behind that, you've got a nice space on there. And I did think This is a bit of wasted space, so maybe just a little book page pocket with a tag in there, just a thin tag or a piece of paper, just for another little bit of writing space. How I did this one, if you want to do it this way, is I did the same thing, dictionary page, got that, but I then had to put 2 of these on top of each other and cut 2 at a time so that they were the same. What you do need to do though is make sure that, how am I going to explain this? So pretend this has card on it. So before you put it through the die cut machine, you've got to remember that this needs to be up the way that you want it to before you cut it, because where you put those circles, it won't line up exactly if you then turn that over to glue it together. So if you want it so that you've got words and then you flip it up, then this piece has to be upside down to be up the right way when you open the flip. So then pop that through your die cut machine and pull them apart, and you would be able to then glue the lace on there, then glue those together, and then when you flip it up, you'll have the writing up the right way. Not that it really matters if the writing's upside down. Okay, so that's how you would do it if you wanted this one. Then I just put a little bit of lace on the bottom and sewed around the outside and recut these, because I really like these little finger holes. I think they're really cool. I don't know if that's what they're called, but you know. Okay, so all I have done here, and if you wanted this to be a standalone page in your journal, then you could just do it on card first and then stick it to a page as well. So I'm going to go away. All I'm going to do is doily first. I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue, enough to pop it down, and I'm going to glue that on there. Then I'm going to glue my belly band, and I'm going to pop that about there. I don't like to put things halfway down a page, although this is breaking it, I think, for balance, just slightly above halfway, about there. Then I'm just going to glue across here, and I'm going to put that down, okay? And so when I come back, it's going to look exactly like that, but glued. And then I'm going to show you how to do this part. Back soon. Okay, so I will just pop that, now that that's all glued on, working well. I'll just pop something heavy on that and allow that to dry. I'll just pop it under here. Okay, now we need to do a little swivel, which is, I'm sure, nothing that you've ever seen, that you haven't seen before. That's all right. We will grab this guy, and the reason why, so this is just a stamp, and I've just put 2 layers of cereal box. So I've punched 3, 2 in cereal box, 1 fussy cut, a stamp out, and then I've glued them together so that they're probably about 2 millimeters thick. The reason why I've done that is because we put the swivel straight onto there, this angles up, and I'm not sure if you can see that through the camera, but it does. If we put it on something like that, it lays a lot flatter. Okay, so all we need to do, I'll just grab a brad. I absolutely love these brads. They are from AliExpress and they look like a flathead screw, and I'm going to have to get more of them. So we want it to be quite far down, and I probably should have stuck the flower on afterwards so that I placed it better, but we should be fine. And then we also want to make sure that this guy has a hole in him as well. It doesn't really matter too much where, just if you want that. I don't think it matters if it's skew with just on the edge of there. And then these guys just go through. I did notice on the last one as well that I just needed to trim one of these brad legs just a little bit and push that guy nice and flat. So I'm going to cut this little piece of metal off here. Then I'm just going to run a whole lot of glue on there, and I'm going to stick him exactly where I need him to go. So please let me know. I'm really hoping that this is okay. Don't worry, we won't be doing it again like this, where I'm actually not making the thing that we're making. But yeah, there was no way around this one. So we kind of need to make sure that this guy doesn't run, this little one that we're sticking on doesn't run over and interfere with that. And that looks like a good spot, so we should be able to pop a decent amount of glue on him. And again, I'd put some sort of weight on that as well, just so that it adheres really nicely. We're just going to pop him down into the corner, and then he will be able to close over there nicely. Just check. And I don't mind that you can see that, because we made it decorative anyway. So there you go, that's that one done. Now, the little embellishment that is in the centre, this little guy, he's really easy to do. Here's just a square piece of paper. So I've just done the 3 corners, but he was just a slight rectangle. And I have this paper punch, and I'm using that one. So if I do the last one, and then obviously ink him up. I hope this video isn't too bad. I'm usually pretty good, but I could not for the life of me figure out how to redo this one. And then I have, as you know, got a whole lot of resined bits and pieces from my last video. And I just got one of these ones. Any one will do. So we'll just pick that one. But you could do a slightly bigger one as well if you're... Maybe we'll do that one for a change. So check out the last video. I'll try and remember to put that one in the description as well. And then all we need is a little bit of coffee dyed cheesecloth. I did have a piece, but that's gone somewhere into the nether. And all I did was pop the glue onto here. Pop that one onto there. And then pop that. And then I let it dry. Just make sure it's pretty centered. And then once it's dry, because the threads are all glued down, then I just pull all the remaining threads off the sides. So I'll just show you. But I will wait till it dries. There you go. And then if you want to trim some off, you can. But that's how you get all those threads. Like that. Easy peasy. So here's this little guy, and he's dry, so I'm just going to continue to pull out the extra threads, and eventually it will stop allowing you to pull out certain threads because he's glued down. There we go. So then that way got a little bit of textural interest, but you can still see the paper that you used behind it as well. Get off me. There you go. Cute, huh? Okay, now the other thing we need to do is this pocket, and there is another way to do it. I know there is. Magically cleaned up the space. Okay, I couldn't figure out where the video was, so all you're going to do, this is 7.5 by 7.5, and it's just double-sided, printed, and it is a little bit thicker. I would say about 180 GSM. And we do need to be quite fussy about our folding, the beauty of this is, a day later, I have realised another use for this as well. So I'll show you. It doesn't have to be a pocket stuck to a page. So what we're going to do is, this part here, the top layer, is going to be trimmed away to make another pocket. So however thin you want these pockets, it's going to be half of that. So just decide how, you'll see what I mean in a second. And you just fold that the way. You could have bigger pockets by folding this triangle back further. And then I just grab my ruler, a pen, and I just do this by eye. So I want it about half. There we go. And then this guy, I probably want about the same there as well. So about there. Hopefully I'll be able to see that line. Then we need to chop those bits off. So, goodness gracious, that's hard to see. I'm just going to chop through there. Here's my line that I drew running through there. I'm just going to make sure that not that it matters because I can barely see it anyway to cut along it, but if you're using a different kind of paper and you've got a pen line, I'm just going to make sure that I cut that pen off. Okay, so there's our first cut. And then do the same on this side. Can do this with a craft knife. I just had my scissors handy. Okay, then when we fold it up, we have a pocket, and I just cut along there and I cut right up there, but you could just cut about the same off, so maybe we'll do that. I also want to divot. This guy, but I suppose don't do what I did, and I would do them all completely differently if you're worried about symmetry. Okay, I'll just squish this down again. Okay, now I'm just going to chop straight up there and straight across there, and we better do bit of inking, so only the bits that we're going to see. So across there, and that divot, across that one, and in that divot. There we go. Now, I promised you a different little idea for this, so we'll glue it together. Not much gluing. Just have to go along this one and just this little bit here. Done. That's it. That's all we need. So he's a pretty good one-page wonder. With not too many bits that we've cut off that we can't use. Just make sure he dries flat. Now, my idea was, yes, he can be used for a little pocket, but he could also be used and because you've done them double-sided, if you put him into that third one, and you wouldn't glue that bit, so I'll just pop them on there for now. You now have 3 little tucks on the corner, and over the page you have another one, which I'd put a cluster on because he's a bit simple. But there you go. So he can be quite useful. So look at all that mess. There we go. I hope that is helpful. All I did on that second page was I made another one of those, and I just glued it down there so that we've got a little tuck spot made out of exactly the same one. I'm not going to show you how to do that. It's like teaching you how to suck eggs, isn't it? So there's our other version if you want to do the lace, but everything else is exactly the same. I haven't made the thing that I'm going to put in there because it was literally just a piece of paper with some stamped lines on it. But this one, if it's going into the front of my other journal, I might put my This Journal Belongs To in there and make a little card. There we go. What do you think? So we'll get rid of the one that's not even for our journal, shall we? And I think it fits quite nicely in amongst all the other pages. Don't you? So that one, obviously, you're going to have quite a few. I haven't folded those pages back yet. That should be something I need to show you. Before you start decorating, I usually fold these guys back so that they open nicely in the journal. Okay? I haven't even adhered him in. Ah, yes. Okay, that is a difference. Quick difference that I need to show you. Okay, so if you're doing 2 layers of paper rather than one, we'll just use this guy. And I forgot to do it, and I've just noticed that. So if you're doing these and you're doing 2, just remember you just need to run a little bit of glue down there and a little bit of glue down there, and then pop your binding on. I will just open it up and it won't take much. I'll just run a little bit of glue in there and she'll be right. Front and back. But yeah, I'm glad I noticed that. Okay, well, if you're new here, I hope you enjoyed that and are thinking about coming and making this journal with me. The link for that digital will be down the bottom. For those of you who know, we are now up to week 11, so there's 11 folders worth of stuff in there for all these little bits and pieces that I can copy that aren't copyright, ready to go in terms of supplies that you can just print off each week. So at the timing this video goes live, you'll have all the bits and pieces in your new week 11 folder. Alright, so I will see you again for another video next week. Until then, my lovelies, thanks for crafting with me. Mā te wā.